Hey Lucky Ducks, I am back at you with another video. This one will be much shorter, but I just want to take that exact same thing that we just practiced and I want to show you what it looks like when we bump up our numbers. We went from doing like some smaller numbers that maybe we're a little more comfortable with. Now I've got a 3-digit number here and a 2-digit number here. The biggest thing is this divisor. Really, our division kind of stays the same no matter how big the dividend is. It's when we start messing with the divisor that things get a little funkier. So this is where the strategy of estimation becomes especially helpful. So let's start there and let's estimate before I forget like last time. Alrighty guys, mix up my color for fun. Let's pick this weird greenish brown color. That's lovely. Alrighty guys, let's estimate this. So start by estimating or rounding your dividend. Please round your dividend. Write it down, whatever you think is going to be the best option. There's a couple options here that could be pretty easy to work with. Alrighty guys, I'm going to tell you right away, I am going to round this dividend to 400. You may have chosen to round this dividend to the nearest tens place. 410 would be a great option as well. But once we get into those hundreds and thousands, sometimes, especially if the number is already pretty close to 100, I like to round to that 100. It just simplifies things a tiny bit more. So it's just an option. It's how I'll be showing you. But remember, with estimating, it really is your choice and what you think is going to make the problem the easiest for you. Let's go ahead and look at our divisor. Please round your divisor. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and round this divisor to 20. Now, I got to tell you right away, looking at this estimated division problem, that looks super easy. It is way more comfortable for us. There's quite a few ways we can look at this. We could write this. Oh, that's not going to work. Need a little more space. We could write this as 400 divided by 20. We could count by 20s because it's just like counting by 2s until we get there. Another option, you guys saw me do this last time, it's one of my favorite division options, especially when we have something like this, is simplifying my fraction. So we know that I can write this like a fraction, which is 400 over 20, and I can just simplify this fraction. We know that we do that by dividing. So if you divided each of these by 10, we would cancel out these zeros. 400 divided by 10 would be 40, and 20 divided by 10 would be 2. Let me write that out so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing here. It would be 40, and 20 divided by 10 would be 2. So remember, anytime we're simplifying, we're really just dividing the top and bottom, that numerator and denominator, by the same number. But now, all of a sudden, that equals 40 over 2. That says 40 divided by 2. Well, that is a pretty easy division problem. What number plus what number is going to equal 40? Because we're talking halves here. 40 divided by 2 is going to be 20. So we know that 400 divided by 20 actually equals 20. That's lovely. Beautiful. All right, guys, so now we found our estimated quotient. I'm going to clean up my space a little bit, and we will move on. Think to yourself what the next step is. If you know what the next step is, go ahead and get your stuff written out so you're ready to go for it. Alrighty, if you said the next step was to solve, you are correct. Let's solve this bad boy, and let's do it in orange. Alright, I'm going to write it out. 408 divided by 24. Alright, you guys know that this is going to require a little bit guess and check. That's the way that we solve these problems. When they have a 2-digit divisor. So right away, I know that 24 can't go into 4. Definitely not. But I could say, well, can 24 go into 40? Yes. So I already know 20 plus 20 equals 40. So that lets me know that I can't do 2 times because 24 plus 24 would be greater than 40. 24 times 2, just to write it out in case you're following along on paper, would be 48. That would be too big. So we can only go in here one time. 1 times 24 would be 24. Let's do a little subtraction. We're going to need to regroup. This will become a 3. This will become a 10. 10 take away 4 is 6. 3 take away 2 is 1. Alrighty, can 24 go into 16? It cannot. It is too big. So here we are. We got to drop down our 8. Lovely, 168. That will be fun. Let's take a look at this. Even when we are working within our solving, we can still estimate, and that's going to help us here. So we can still think of this 24 as about 20. 168, we can think of that as about 170. If you want, you could also think about it as 160. So let's just count by 20s and see when we get close to 168. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160. All right. Very nice. 160. Let's see. That was 8. Let's try 24 multiplied by 8 and see if that gets us there. We want to be careful not to go over. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19. Ooh, did we do it, guys? No. That is way too much. We got to scale back a little bit here. Let's try another one. Let's just go down to 7 and see if that works. Seven times 4 is 28. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. Hot diggity dog. That's the exact number we're trying to get to, so we can put this 7 right up here. 7 times 24, we already know, because we just did it, is 168. Do some subtraction. We got nothing left. I love it. So we came up with 17 as our quotient. Let's make some space here. If you're on paper, then you've got plenty of space, but I've only got this little iPad. Alrighty, so we found this to equal 17. Again, we're probably going to want to do a little bit of multiplication to check our work. So step 3, multiply. You love to see it, guys. I know you do. I know you're over there excited. You're like, oh my gosh, I've missed multiplication so much. I know. All right, let's pull some green in here. Now, I really want you to think, what numbers are we going to multiply together to make this happen? Alrighty, team. So we need to multiply the quotient and the divisor. We've got our quotient right here. We just solved for that. And we need to use our divisor there. And hopefully, when we multiply these two numbers together, we will get this number right here, the dividend. Alrighty, let's give it a go. 24 multiplied by 17. Because my product that I have on the bottom here has 2 digits, we know I'm going to have 2 partial products. Very exciting, I know. Alrighty, enough of my yammering. 7 times 4 is 28. We need to carry our 2. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. Think in your head what goes here. Write it down when you got it. All right, I hope you said placeholder. We're definitely putting a placeholder there. We're definitely crossing that bad boy off. We do not want it anymore. All right, moving to our tens place down here. Remember, I'm going to say a 1, but this really is a 10. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. And we are going to add our partial products together. 8 plus 0 is 8. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry our 1. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. Alrighty, team members, I gotta say, 408 looks awfully a lot like our dividend here. I say we did a wonderful job. Congratulate yourselves. You guys are sticking with me, and I appreciate it. Go do some practice, and I will yap at you again in a few minutes. Oh, I just had one more thought, guys. I did it again. I wanted to show you guys this. So here we have, sorry, your star's getting a little bit mangled, guys. I wanted to show you this. We write our division problem, 408 divided by 24 equals 17. And when you want to write this out in multiplication, one way to help remind you is just to switch it around a little bit. Now, it's just 408 equals 24 times 17. So you can think of it that same way. It's really just taking those numbers and doing the opposite. So you could also write this and just take all your numbers in the opposite order and go 17 times 24 equals 408. So there's a couple different ways to think about this, but this might help remind you which numbers need to get multiplied together when you're checking your work. So great job, guys, and